Good evening and welcome to NCS. This webinar is designed to introduce you to NCS and to our admissions process. We're glad you've joined us tonight. And to begin with, Dr. Eleanor Scully is here, our head of school, and I'm delighted to welcome her to share some thoughts about why NCS.
Thank you so much, Jessica, and thank you all for joining us this evening. I know there are a lot of pulls on your time, so we're grateful that you're going to spend some time with us this evening. I wanted to take a little bit of time to talk about our school, what I think makes it unique and distinctive, and some of the aspects of our program and our community that I hope will spark your curiosity so that you'll come to our campus and visit us. National Cathedral School has a very clear mission. Our mission states very boldly that we believe in the power of young women and we educate them to embrace our core values of excellence, service, courage, and conscience. We believe that the world needs bright, talented, confident, and capable young women, and that when you put a young person in an environment like this, she is able to develop a very strong sense of her authentic voice, develop skills and capacities that she will need not only in secondary school and in college, but the rest of her life. And so we design everything here at NCS around that sense of student engagement and empowerment. And we think deliberately about how to create a program that brings out the best in every student. Our mission does not say that we empower young women. We believe in the power that exists within a young person, and we create the conditions here at NCS where she can start to understand and discover that for herself and connect that power to other students and begin to think about how she can make an impact and a difference in the world. We are educating students for life, and our graduates tell us often and regularly that NCS was one of the single most important intellectual and academic experiences of their life. And I want to talk for a few minutes about why that is. We build a program here, a curricular and co-curricular program that is designed to support the development of girls and young women from 4th through 12th grade. We are developmentalists, which means we have a great deal of expertise in what happens for students in upper elementary school, in middle school, and then in upper school. And we know what that development looks like for young women. And we create experiences, both intellectual and co-curricular, that help her to tap into her capability and to really grow into the fullness of her potential. We are a skills-based program, which means that beginning in 4th grade, we are fully departmentalized. What I mean by that is that the English teachers in our school meet in departments and examine what our skill-based curriculum should look like beginning in 4th grade all the way through the senior year of high school. We certainly cover a lot of important content at NCS, but what we're driving for is giving students skills that they will use for the rest of their lives in their professional lives, but also in their academic journey. These are skills of critical thinking, self-expression, problem solving. And what we know is that our graduates tell us that the skills they develop at NCS prepare them for all sorts of novel contexts when they leave us, and that they believe they have the capability within themselves to face those challenges and encounter those novel contexts without any fear that they can't figure things out. So we have this program academically that begins in 4th grade, continues through the middle years and into upper school, that is very intentional and purpose-built. We ask a lot of our students. This is a curriculum that is challenging, that asks them to do sophisticated academic and intellectual work, but in the context of an enormous amount of support from teachers, advisors, mentors, and friends. We have a deeply relational model of learning, which means that we believe that the relationship between a student and a teacher is one of the most important catalysts of student learning. And so that we have very small classes where teachers really get to know their students, their cognitive profiles, how they learn best, their personalities, so they can draw out the best work in the students that they have in their care. The students, in doing some of this challenging and exciting work and really building these skills of thinking and self-expression, do that together. It's a very collaborative learning environment. So there is a lot of support that is built among the students as they work together. And so what we see is that they develop abiding, lifelong friendships as a result of the rich intellectual environment they inhabit. We also have an extraordinarily rich co-curricular program. And what I mean by that is that we have an athletic program, an arts program, a music program. We have clubs and activities that the students can initiate and engage on their own. And as a result of that, it is a very balanced approach to the whole child in our school. Obviously, in lower school, there's a lot more support than there is in upper school. So we are thinking intentionally as a student grows through our curriculum, how much support she needs, and then when she is ready to take on greater and greater independence in her learning and her engagement. I think one of the biggest aspects of our program, both in the classroom and in all aspects of the co-curricular program, is an approach to developing leadership in young women. The empowerment of women is about helping them discover the contours of their power, connect with confidently their voice, to feel like they can make a difference in the world and respond with purpose to the needs around them. And so we have a very broad and multidimensional vision of leadership that allows a young person to think about how she may want to use her gifts for good in the world. How might she begin to imagine making change in her community in ways large and small? Leadership for us is about a student recognizing she has the capacity to make a difference in things that are of importance to her. So we have lots of clubs and activities and student leadership opportunities within the program where she can begin to explore those aspects of herself. Similarly, in the arts and in athletics, there are many ways a young person can show up and contribute to a shared enterprise and learn how to work with different kinds of people and work across difference and within difference to build a vibrant and multidimensional community. Another aspect of our school that I think is really distinctive and unique is that we are a cathedral school. We have the cathedral in our title, and we inhabit a very special part of Washington, D.C. We sit on 50 sort of bucolic acres in the middle of Washington, D.C. in an urban landscape that is vibrant and busy. But we are also situated next to the National Cathedral, and we have a deep and abiding relationship with St. Albans, which is our brother school, and with Beauvoir, which is the elementary school of the National Cathedral. What we know about our relationship to the cathedral is that we are actually tethered to something larger than ourselves. The cathedral is the seat of the Episcopal Diocese in Washington. It knows itself to be a house of prayer for all people. So it inhabits an extremely welcoming and inclusive way of thinking about inviting people into the cathedral for conversation and worship and fellowship in the context of welcoming many, many people and lifting up the dignity and worth of every human being. Our cathedral identity means that our students, as an Episcopal school, spend time in the cathedral. Once every rotation, which for us is about 7 days, they go into the cathedral, 4th through 12th grade, for a moment of celebration and worship. That means that they may hear a homily from a teacher. They might hear from a guest homilist, someone who's come to our school to share a perspective on their own faith journey, or think about a challenge or issue in the world where we could lend our support. We gather for important services around the holiday times to sing and to be together in community. So the cathedral becomes an extension of our campus, a very beautiful and majestic space where we can build bonds of community and think deeply about what it means to think about our obligation to give back to the world. We also are on the Cathedral Close, meaning we have a relationship with our brother school, a coordinate program, which means that our students have coeducational opportunities alongside their experiences in an all-girls, single-gender school. And obviously, we have opportunities to connect with Beauvoir and mentor younger students. So it's like a little campus in the middle of Washington, D.C., with wonderful and abiding relationships that make our school experience broader and more connected, not only to the other institutions of the Cathedral Close, but also to Washington, D.C. I want to come back before I close and we open it up for questions to our core values for just a second. We talk about believing in the power of women and educating them to embrace our core values of excellence, service, courage, and conscience. Excellence to us is not about being excellent or an end result or an end product that is excellent. It is a mindset and an approach to think about continuous improvement and always striving to do our best work and to celebrate and lift up the work of others. Our commitment to service is imbued 4th through 12th grade from the moment a student joins us. And it is this question of what is our obligation to give back to the world and to do good and to use our gifts in service of bigger questions and challenges in our community. It is a service learning program that asks us to think about some of the challenges that face us in our community and in the world and how we can give back. Courage is about learning how to speak up for yourself and to speak up for someone else, to speak with conviction and power when you know that you want to make a statement about something that is important to you, when you want to lend support to someone who's having a hard time, when there is an injustice in the world that you think needs to be righted, how you think about finding the strength within yourself to name those things. And conscience is a companion to courage. It is that notion that within ourselves, we need to develop a strong moral compass and a sense of right and wrong, and to begin to make decisions that derive from a value system that we build with our families and within the context of our school in ways that are meaningful. I have been at NCS as the head for 5 years, but I also served the school for 8 years as the upper school head and associate head of school. So I have a number of years of experience with this institution under my belt. And what I will tell you is that this school is full of life. When I come to work every day, I usually cut through the lower school if I can, which brings me past the middle school and across the street and into our upper school campus. I am greeted by enthusiastic students who are brimming with energy and excitement for the day. I hear peals of laughter as they hang out with each other before the first period bell strikes and they're off to their first period class. I see them checking in with each other on whatever happened in yesterday's sporting event, complimenting each other on the good work that they saw happen at theater practice. This is a vibrant and alive community. My office sits in the high school building, and so most days I have to shut my door because there is so much energy teeming in the hallways. And that is really part of the secret sauce of this place. I often say to parents, our students work hard and they play hard. They go at their passions with a full-hearted, full-throttle set of enthusiastic energies and principles, and they play as hard. They laugh and they experience the sort of full gamut of what high school, middle school, and lower school is like. So what I would suggest to you is that the best way to learn more about us is to come see us, because then you'll get to go on a tour, you'll get to meet some students, you'll be in the company of some of our remarkable teachers who have picked this school because they love the learning model and they love the students with whom they interact. And the best way to really get a feel for us is to come on campus and meet us. But we have some other things we want to share tonight, particularly about the ways you can do that, the ways you can come on our campus and get to know us, and a little more about the process of applying. And then we're going to open it up and hopefully be able to answer as many of your questions as we can this evening. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for thinking deeply about what might be right for your child. And we look forward to welcoming you to campus in the coming weeks. Jessica.
Thank you. Thank you, Eleanor. I want to echo Dr. Scully's welcome to everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jessica North Macy, the Director of Enrollment and Financial Aid at NCS. So my part this evening is to take you through a few slides that are going to walk you through the application process. I also will echo what Eleanor said, which is that the best way to discover for yourself is to come visit us at NCS. So I hope that after tonight, you'll be inspired to come to campus. And you can do that by scheduling a tour. You could also come to one of our in-person programs. We have several coming up. in the month of November, and we look forward to seeing you here. When you come to campus, you will get to experience for yourself some of what Dr. Scully just spoke about. You'll get to meet teachers and students and have the opportunity to ask your questions, explore that beautiful campus that she described, and learn more about our programs and activities. So we look forward to seeing you here. So let me tell you how to start an application. To start your application, we invite you to create an account, and you can do that at ravenna-hub.com. Ravenna is our online application platform, and it's where you can schedule a tour or a shadow visit. You can register for an event. And in Ravenna, you can manage all your application materials. There's a handy checklist that will help you walk through the process and keep you informed as components of the application are submitted and completed. So again, that's ravenna-hub.com, but you can always access this through a link from our website, ncs.org. And in those admissions pages, you can find a link to Ravenna. If you ever have questions, don't hesitate to reach out to the team. I'll introduce you to the team and share some contact information. You know, I'm often asked, what is it that we're looking for in an applicant? And so I want to talk about three things: academic readiness, community involvement, and values alignment. You know, we are doing our best to get to know applicants in a three-dimensional way. So that's why in our application, we're going to collect some writing from you to learn your thoughts, some recommendation forms from students' current teachers, transcripts, testing, and we want to meet your students. So we want you to tour, we want you to come to campus in grades 5 through 12. There's an interview component of the application, and there's also a chance to have a shadow visit. And all of these pieces of the application are designed to help us get a holistic sense of your student. Now, the deadline for the application and for the financial aid application is January 9th. And those opportunities to tour and to visit campus are already ongoing. The application forms are ready. You can get right into Ravenna and begin to progress through that process right now. So, as Eleanor said, we're hoping the next thing you'll do is come to campus. So register for an on-campus event or schedule a tour. I also want to mention the process for applying for financial aid. We know that investing in your child's education is a big decision, and we want to work with families to help them understand how it can be affordable. This school year, NCS has provided financial aid to 25% of the student body, and that is in amounts that range from 5% to 98% of tuition. We also support students with supplemental aid, so that means that families who are qualified to receive assistance in tuition are also qualified to receive assistance for things like textbooks and other school materials, for programs like extended day, for school trips, for conferences that our students attend. To apply for financial aid, you will use the Clarity platform. So that's at clarityapp.com. And again, you can get to it from our school website. And I want to mention my colleague, Rebecca Durango, who is a great contact from the admissions team for families with questions about financial aid, or for anybody who wants help walking through the Clarity application. But that said, you can reach out to any member of our admissions team if you need support accessing application materials, or if you have any questions at all. We are here to help. We're happy to do that. We're looking forward to working with you and getting to know you. So I'm going to take some time now with Eleanor to respond to some of the questions that have been shared. If you have a question, you can submit it in the Q&A. And we'll answer some of those tonight, and then you'll also have an opportunity to ask your specific questions when you come to campus. You can ask our students directly, and they are, I think it's great to hear it directly from the students' experience. But tonight we'll try to answer some of the broader questions and topics that you've raised, and my colleague Beth is here to walk us through some of those questions.
Great. Thanks, Jessica. So some questions are starting to come in. And the first one, I think, Eleanor, should be directed towards you. We have some questions about the environment at NCS, particularly around academic pressure and stress. Can you speak to that?
Oh, I would be happy to. That's a great question. And I think, when I sometimes encounter folks who ask about NCS, one of the things I hear is there's some worry about, how intense is it really? Like this is clearly an academic place. How do you think about what the right amount of challenge for a young person is? And, I think it's a great question and it's a real question. This is a place that where students tend to really love learning. They are deeply curious, and that brings a level of sort of intellectual hunger, if you will, to what they want to take on in their days. What I will say, though, is they calibrate that for themselves. I think one of the things that I do every year is I spend time talking with students as much as I can. And what they will tell you is that they have a lot of control over what they take, how hard they go at their extracurricular activities, and that really it is not a pressure cooker. It is not a place where they feel there is so much work that they can't manage it. They see their teachers as partners and as allies. They know that if they have a night where there's a lot going on and they need to ask for a little more time, they always get it. They know that if they are struggling to master a concept, they can go by office hours and drop by and visit with the teacher to get some clarification for that. So what we know is that young people today who are in independent schools and have exciting aspirations for their future, college and graduate school and life beyond secondary school, they tend to feel the pressure and the weight of doing their best work and being successful. But that is not coming from the school. It's coming from their desire to sort of learn and grow. We do a lot at NCS to think about giving our students life skills so they know when they need to apply themselves, sort of put their foot on the gas, and when they need to take their foot off the gas. We have weekends where we don't have any homework. We have celebrations, rally moments throughout the school year where they can just kick back and have fun. We are thinking with them about how to keep school in proportion. They are only this age once in their life, and so we want them to have a three-dimensional experience, whether that's lower, middle, or upper school, that honors their development, honors their ability to be kids and have fun, and still develop really wonderful skills that will serve them well when they leave us. And part of what they have to learn is how to moderate and when to sort of take a step back. And they get a ton of support in doing that. I think this is one of the questions that you most need to ask a student, because I often will hear students say it is the one misconception about NCS that bothers them the most, that there isn't joy, that there isn't fun, that it's too much work. They will be the ones to rebut that better than actually I could, because they are living it on a day-to-day basis and they're balancing those choices and they're making those decisions.
Great, and I would just add that our students are ready to do hard things and enjoy taking on challenges. And when we enroll new students, we know that they are ready and we are committed to their success.
That's a great point.
Great. All right, the next question is around technology. So how technology is incorporated into the classroom, and then tangentially the cell phone policy at school.
Sure. So we use technology instructionally in our classrooms. And that technology is meant to fulfill certain learning objectives about whether it's about doing research or accessing methods of teaching and learning that are going to advance students' work and development in classrooms. And we try to use it in a purpose-built way. We know that kids spend a lot of time on screens when they're outside of school, so we think consciously and deliberately about where is a piece of technology going to aid learning, and when does the learning need to be have no technological input. In other words, whether it's a debate or a project or a small group work where they are working with each other shoulder to shoulder and technology is not in the mix. So we are very mindful that a lot of learning is mediated by technology and computers, but we are also thinking about those moments where learning can be rich and deep and not have technology in the mix. We have a cell phone policy that is graduated by developmental stage. So our lower and middle school students don't have technology on at all during the day. They are allowed to bring a piece of technology to school, like a phone in a backpack, but it has to be out of sight during the entirety of the school day for students in grades 4 through 8th grade. When at the end of the day, if they need to coordinate a pickup for a ride, they can do that, but otherwise it's not present. In grades 9 through 12, we have a policy that says students cannot have their cell phones out in class, nor can they have their cell phones present in community time at all. So we have a lot of community times, chapel services, celebrations, assemblies, meetings, speakers. They can't have their technology out at all. We are not a bell-to-bell school, which means that we do not take their device at the beginning of the day, hold it for the entirety of the day in high school, and then give it back to them. They are allowed to access their technology during lunch, when they have a free period, and at the end of the school day. What we found when we made this policy and partnered with students was that they felt that it would be better for them to have limited, very sort of small access to technology at controlled periods during the day than sort of rush to it at the end of the day when school was out. And we have found that that has been incredibly effective, that the students honor the community times. It's not present. You don't see students with phones when we are together for meetings and other kinds of important all-school gatherings. But they may have it in a free period, and they have it at the end of the day after 3:30 when they're headed off to their extracurricular activities. And we have found that to be a really nice balance for them, because we want to prepare them, certainly the high school students, when they get to college and will have unfettered access to technology.
Great. We have some questions now about our ties to the cathedral. So as an Episcopal school, how are faith and religion incorporated into school culture?
Oh, that's a really lovely question. So I spoke a little bit about the cathedral as being a really important place of worship for us, where we gather as a community every 7 days to have a cathedral service 4th through 12th grade. And those follow the Episcopal tradition of prayer. And we also use those services oftentimes to introduce students to other faith traditions. So it would not be uncommon for them to hear from a rabbi during the time of the Jewish holy holidays. It would not be unusual for someone to share an aspect of their faith journey. But the prayers and the cadence of our services are grounded in the Episcopal tradition. We have students who represent probably every faith tradition that you can imagine, and some that are agnostic, and we certainly probably have atheists in our community. Cathedral then for them, and our weekly chapel services by division, can also be places of quiet contemplation, reflection, connecting to some sort of quiet moment of groundedness and centeredness that is important. We also have religion classes that happen in our academic program. So students will study religion as part of the academic program. And those classes are wonderful. They are not all about Christianity. They are explorations of world religions. The 7th graders actually take a class where they study the cathedral, and they learn all about how the cathedral was built, the beautiful stained glass windows in the cathedral. And so what it does, though, I believe, is it imbues our school life writ large with a sense that we're connected to something larger than ourselves, that taking time for spiritual reflection, however that is designed for the individual, is really important. And that when we are together in community, holding up the needs of the community, whether it's someone who's lost someone, a grandparent, someone who is sick and going through a hard time, that we can come together powerfully as a community to support each other in the good times and in the hard times. And I think that is a bond of connective tissue in our community that's really special. It is not dogmatic, it is not overly prescriptive, but it does give young people and the adults in the community a way into thinking about how we support each other, and we ground in values of the dignity and worth of every person, the God-given preciousness of every human being, our commitment to do good in the world, to seek justice, to walk humbly. And those values can be interpreted broadly in a context like ours, I think, to knit together some really important parts of the strength of how we show up for one another every day in our school.
Okay, how are we doing on time? Do you want some more questions?
Well, let's squeeze in one more. I feel like I know, and people may drop off, and so I certainly know that like you might need to let your dog out or make some more dinner. But if I think we could entertain a few more, just because I feel like 30 minutes goes really fast. So I'm game if you are, and if you need to move on, we certainly understand. This will be available as a video as well. So maybe take two more, Beth, and then we can wrap.
Okay. What about opportunities for parents to become involved?
Oh, thank you, whomever asked that. That's a great question. So I think one of the big strengths of an independent school, and particularly ours, is parent engagement. I say always that one of the most beautiful parts of the partnership we build with parents is that you know things about your child that we don't know and can't see because they're only showing you that at home. And then we see a whole, potentially side of your child that you don't see at school. And what we do to really support a young person is to share those perspectives. So there's a lot of richness to how we partner with parents in terms of feedback about student growth and engagement. But the other way parents get involved is they volunteer, to be perfectly honest. And you can, just like the students can dial up or dial down their engagement in co-curricular programs, parents can dial that up and dial it down. We have roles within our Parents Association, leadership roles, where parents will volunteer to be a leader of a grade or to help get information to parents. We have parents who volunteer to come in once to support an event and pass out cookies or, serve juice or get involved in chaperoning a field trip for our lower schoolers. And we have sort of many opportunities to come into the school community and be present. Obviously, in lower school, that looks one way because lower schoolers love to have their parents come in and see them in action in the classroom. And a 9th or 10th grader might not want that as much. That might not be what they're looking for. But yesterday was senior night for tennis. Excuse me. I said I wanted more questions and I had a tickle. And senior night is when the seniors are honored. It's the end of the tennis. We're coming to the end of the tennis season. And all the parents were there. And we have posters of the kids. There's food. There's fellowship. The seniors are introduced. And then at the end of the match, a underclassman, a 9th, 10th, or 11th grader offers a tribute to a senior. That is an example of something where I feel like we are at our best. Kids are generating fun activities for each other. This is a high school event, obviously, because these are varsity sports, but the parents are there to cheer them on. So I would say parent engagement, if you are interested and motivated to get involved, we have lots of ways for you to do that. And we love it because you often help us make activities and events more special for the students, but also we get to know each other out, in ways that enrich what we know about your children and you about us. And so it's a really nice part. I always feel for the parents of seniors at the end of the senior year. They are emotional because they are getting ready to leave a community that has been a really important part of their life and their family. And so it's an important part of getting involved.
And I would add that when you come to NCS for an event such as one of our admissions programs, parent volunteers will be present and you can ask this question of parents.
Jessica, we have some questions that are fairly grade specific. What is the best way for families to get to know the particular division that they're interested? We have quite a few questions that are really unique to the 4th grade experience. What's the best way for families to learn more about that division and that grade?
I recommend the lower school admissions program. The lower school program is happening on November 14th, and it's an opportunity during the school day to actually come to campus and to get into a classroom while it's in action and see for yourself. Our admissions experiences are fairly tailored to prospective families, knowing that you're each looking for something specific for your student, and that we accept applications in every division. So we will be happy to provide not just programs, but to facilitate conversations, whether it's with admissions team members or whether it's putting you in connection with a division leader or a specific teacher. So I would start by saying come to an admissions program. But if at any point in our admissions process, there's a question that's going unanswered for you, please reach out because we want to connect you with the right folks to answer that question.
Great, thank you.
Well, those are some wonderful questions, and I'm sure there are more in the chat that we didn't get to, but I know we're committed to trying to circle back to folks where we can. I'll let Jessica close us out, but I just want to say thank you again for taking some time. And I look forward to meeting you. I will be at many of these admission events, and part of the joy of getting to know folks in the enrollment process is to really be able to go deep on the areas of interest that are most important to you and your family. So thank you for being here tonight.
Thanks, Eleanor. So once again, I want to share with you that slide that has the names of the enrollment team and our contact information, because I do want to encourage you to be in touch with us. Your starting point, as I mentioned, is to go to Ravenna Hub, ravenna-hub.com. You can access the link also from our webpage. But at any moment, if you reach out to one of us, we're here for your questions, and we're so excited to meet you. Thank you for coming tonight, and we're looking forward to seeing you soon.